Hey everybody, it's Jason from the Texas Gun Vault 2, and yes, I have not made a video on this channel in a few days. I'm sorry. You guys know it's that time of the year when school starts up. I'm a teacher. I've been dealing with a lot of the first days of school scheduling and other things I have to do and get done. I've also had a few family things to do, and I have been making content just for range reports and going to the range to film range footage. But I haven't really had a lot of time to sit out here in the garage and make these casual gun videos. But here we are, and I have three things to talk about today. I have a first impressions of 3 items I recently took to the range. I have a frequently asked question, and I also have I guess we're going to say a video series idea, which I think is actually really good. And it comes from a gentleman I met at the range today. But let's talk about the first impressions first. Yeah, a lot of the word first in there. We're going to talk about this rifle right here. This is the Gray Birch Defy the Norm LDR. And it's a Ruger 1022 clone or Ruger 1022 based rifle. Gray Birch is a company that is very much like Volquartsen, that makes higher-end accessories for the 1022 platform and other rimfire guns. You have this really cool chassis, which is exactly the same as the straight pull rifle I recently reviewed. We got that carbon fiber barrel. It's super light, very accurate. Yeah, it's just what you would expect. It's very much like a Volquartsen. So what were my experiences with it? It is very light. It is very cool looking. It is very accurate. The trigger is actually okay. I actually think I prefer the Volquartsen triggers more than I do the Gray Birch triggers. And I got to see which trigger system is in this. I think it's, let's see what we got here. No, this one says it's a Volquartsen trigger, which I'll have to see which model it is, because I felt like the one in the straight pull rifle was much better. This one, I feel when you do the reset, you don't have the ability to stage and predict it as well. It feels a little bit grittier, and I think it breaks a little bit lighter. So there was a couple times with this, I felt like the round went off just a little bit before I wanted it to when I was staging it. The gun is exceptionally accurate and exceptionally quiet. And yes, it does have a threaded barrel. So we did run this suppressed, and the other things I reviewed were suppressors, and we'll talk about that in just a moment. But pretty much a lot of my comments I had on the straight pull rifle are going to be the same on this one. The stock is cool, it folds, it's nice, it needs to be beefier, it needs to be wider in the back. The adjustments need to be easier to get to. You have to have an Allen wrench. The chassis is really cool. It's going to get a great review, but it might not be the most exciting rifle I have ever reviewed. So does that make any sense? It's probably going to get 5 out of 5 stars, but it's not really a standout rifle where it's so different that I think a lot of people are going to gravitate towards the video and go, wow, I want to check that out, because they're going to go, wow, that's a really nice rimfire rifle. And it really is. I mean, it is really a lot of fun and very accurate. But it's a Ruger 1022. But that can be a good thing, you know? Rimfire, when it's running well, is one of the most fun type of guns you can take to the range and shoot, because it doesn't cost you a lot. Now, when it comes to the reliability of this gun, it's like all rimfires. It is spotty, but I think it has more to do with ammunition than anything else. But I was running a lot of CCIs through it. Sometimes they don't want to feed from various magazines, and I felt like the dirtier the gun got, the less reliable it was. In fact, when I was trying to do my opening shots, which typically I film last, where you kind of have the camera pointed towards me, it took me 15 minutes to shoot 10 rounds through it without the gun having a malfunction. It just could be because the tolerances are tighter and the action gets gummed up because of all the carbon. We did run it suppressed, and I had 2 suppressors, and I filmed content to review these as well. I have the Advanced Armament Element 3, which is a 22 Win Mag suppressor, but of course you can suppress 22 long rifle through it. And this one is actually a Bauer Precision exclusive. Now, Bauer Precision is a firearm store located here in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. And it has a special coating. I believe this is a titanium suppressor. I have to double check. But what was interesting about this, from a performance standpoint, is it's exceptionally quiet, which is what I expect from AAC. With subsonic ammunition, it's amazing. Very minute point of impact shift. But when it came to the heat test, I wasn't able to actually test it. This has a special coating on it, and that's what makes it the exclusive. It has, maybe it's a titanium something coating. You can see it's gold. The laser thermometer that I use cannot read it. So it was definitely warm to my hand after a few mag dumps. I mean, it was not dangerously hot. If I had to estimate, it'd be in like the 120s. But when I tried to measure it, this, I guess, coating has a high reflectivity to it, and the laser thermometer was saying 77 degrees, which is lower than the temperature of the range. So I don't know, I wasn't able to actually do that test because of this coating, and that was a really interesting result. But it didn't get that hot, and I don't expect them, or 22 suppressors really, to get that hot. So that one was kind of a test I'm still going to show, but I'm going to show the interesting aspect of the coating. But I didn't get any data from it. But it works, it's super quiet. The other suppressor that I reviewed is another 22 long rifle suppressor. This one I actually have to take back to the range because when I was getting to the end of the filming of the footage, there were some people that came in, they were shooting unsuppressed, so I had to go back at a later time. I just need to do the point of impact shift test with this and the mag dump heat test with this one. And this is the Combat Application Technologies SR, which stands for short round. And I guess they kind of make fun of it like the character from Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom, short round. You guys, I'm sure you guys have seen that movie, but they kind of ham it up when it's like has like an Asian influence or something. But when it comes to the suppressor, it's just a suppressor. I think it's 3D printed, and it's also made of titanium. I have not taken these apart yet to see the baffle stacks, but this one is exceptionally light, and like the AAC, works great. 22 suppressors are the closest thing you're ever going to get to Hollywood quiet. So I really liked both of them. I think when it comes to the point of impact shift, based off of the tests I was doing, I said I haven't been able to do the official one where I do the ballistics data on this, but based off of just like the 10-yard kind of first impressions tone test, this one I think has a moderate point of impact shift. This one does not. I'm always fascinated by that, about how the ballistics can change due to baffle designs as the projectile goes through them, even though the baffles do not interact with the projectile at all. But I have to go back, finish the footage on that, and then, of course, review all that footage and really come up with my final thoughts. But overall, great rifle. I mean, it's awesome. 5 out of 5 stars. I just don't know how excited people are going to be for it because it's another just high-end Ruger 1022 clone. I know I will get some comments of people saying, I'd rather just have a Ruger 1022. Does it shoot that much better than a Ruger 1022? Yeah, it does. Does the law of diminishing returns, play into effect? Yeah, it does. Yeah, it does. Because the cost of this rifle is 4 or 5 times the cost of a Ruger 1022. I don't know if it shoots 4 or 5 times better. It definitely shoots better, though. But we'll have to go over all of that in the footage. But anyway, those are the 3 things I took to the range and reviewed. So that will be what I will be editing and working on for the next week. All right. So now let's get to the frequently asked question. In fact, I had 2 people bring this up in 2 of my range reports. One person asked the question, and then one person made a statement. And the person that asked the question asked, why when I test a trigger out in a semi-automatic handgun that has a hammer, Why do I rack the slide after I test it instead of just pull the hammer back? The other person made a statement saying, you don't have to rack the slide, you can just pull the hammer back. And I wanted to answer that because I thought it was an absolutely great question. So let me go get my Colt 1911 back here with my Brownworks grips on it, and I'll demonstrate why. Okay, now some people are going to say it doesn't make a difference, but there's also a content creator's reason I do it. So first of all, let's clear the gun. The gun is unloaded. Let's drop the magazine. So what people are asking essentially is, when I'm testing the trigger, right now the hammer's back. If I had the trigger pull weight gauge out, then, maybe I'll actually see if there is a difference here. So let's turn this guy on. By the way, thank you, Craig, for this. I need to thank him from time to time because he gave this to the channel for me to use. Okay, so if you are using your gun, so here's the philosophy that I tell most people. If you're using your firearm at the range and you load it, obviously you rack the slide, loads the round, and then you're going to pull the trigger. When you pull the trigger and the round goes off, the gun cycles the action. That action doesn't just cock the hammer, it also moves and alters other parts inside the gun. Everything from the disconnector to other safeties that might be engaged or disengaged. Some people are going to claim that the action of the slide moving and then you pull the trigger changes the trigger as compared to me just cocking the hammer and pulling the trigger, because it resets everything. Okay, so that's the mechanical reason of why I do it. And I do believe there is a little bit of truth in that with some gun designs. Maybe. Most gun designs, I don't think it matters, and I could just pull the trigger. But then there's a content creator's reason for why I do it. Because there's a lot of people out there in the gun world that know everything. They know it all. In fact, every range report that I make, they're telling me how I did it wrong because the gun content creator they watch does it right, or whatever it is. So I used to just pull the hammer back and test the triggers. And then I would get the know-it-alls. You always have to push or pull the slide back because that's what the action of the gun does. It does this to the safety, does this to the disconnector. Fine. Just so I don't have to deal with those comments, it only takes me literally a half a second to do that. So I just go ahead and do it, and I still get the same reading I would. I shut those people up so I don't have to deal with those comments, but also just in case there is something internally with the gun that gets reset, I get a consistent trigger pull because that's the trigger pull you would have with the pistol when you used it at the range. So that is why I do that. But actually, let's test with this 1911 and see if there's actually any difference. So let's see here. So I'm going to rack the slide. So all the parts have been reset. Let's see what the trigger pull is. And I know I should have this in a vise. Everyone tells me, but I'm not going to do that right now on my Texas Gun Vault 2 channel. Just my behind the scenes channel. We're just kind of chit-chatting here. All right, so 4 pounds, 9.8 ounces. So now what I'll do is I'll do like 3 pulls. Okay, so I'll rack the slide so it resets everything. Let's see what we get. 4 pounds, 7.5 ounces. And we'll do it one more time. 4 pounds, 9.6 ounces. So a relatively consistent trigger pull. And that gives us an average of 4 pounds, 8.9 ounces. Okay, so let's clear that. So this time, I'm only going to pull the trigger back. So here we go. Just pull the trigger back and see what happens. 4 pounds, 5.8 ounces, so it's less. All right, just pulled the hammer back. 4 pounds, 6.1 ounces. It is less. This is a surprising result. I had no idea what to expect with this. Let's try it again. £4 pounds, 5.8 ounces. So all three of those pulls where I just cocked the hammer gave us a lighter pull. But when you use the gun at the range, the slide will always cycle. So is there something to this? Maybe I need to make a video on this as well. But that gave us an average of 4 pounds, 5.9 ounces. I'm just curious, because there's only three pulls. Let me go ahead and rack the slide so everything gets reset. Now let's see what it pulls at. £4 pounds, 9.8 ounces. Okay, maybe there is something to this. We're learning something. I gotta do it one more time just to make sure that my data is accurate before I invest time in making a video on this. 4 pounds, 12.8 ounces. So heavier. Okay, let's just cock the hammer. £4 pounds, 7.5 ounces. Now, is it really a big difference? No, but is it noticeable? Yeah. So, I still stand by why I rack the slide, because it resets everything. And apparently, at least with this gun, we do get a little bit of deviation in the results. And that's important, because at the range, the gun and the slide will cycle, so I should cycle it when I test the trigger. So there you go, a frequently asked question. I think together we learned something today, and maybe I need to do a video on this. And maybe one where I do like 10 or 15 pulls both ways and just see what the results are. And maybe I should try it on different guns. All right, so frequently asked question is done. So now let's get to the video idea that somebody at the range gave me, and I'm going to give him a shout out. His name is Jack. Now, you guys know I have Jack number 1, Jack number 2. Maybe this guy's going to be Jack number 3. Anyway, I was at the range today filming stuff with the rifle and the suppressors, and he was there, and he asked me what I was doing. He saw that I was filming, and we had a good little conversation. He's new to guns. And he asked a lot of great questions. And I was talking about the philosophy of my gun channel, where I say that I'm an average gun guy making average gun content for average gun people. I don't do LARPing, live action role play. I don't lie to you guys and be like, if you want to shoot these guns, you need to have a sleeve of tattoos and a big beard, and we're going to go out in the woods and we're going to run and gun, and it's all about, shit hits the fan scenarios and all that. No. I'm just an average gun guy dude here in my garage getting to shoot amazing guns. That's all I really want to talk about. I'm not here to tell you how to survive the end times. I'm not here to tell you how to storm the beaches of Normandy. I'm not here to tell you how to clear your house. I'm not telling you what to do, how to shoot. I'm not doing any of that stuff. Okay? It's just documenting my experience with awesome guns. And he said, that's a cool thing, because many of the other channels I watch, I can't relate to. And I was like, yeah, that's why I do this. Exactly, because as much as you want to believe you're like Grand Thumb, wearing, plate carriers and nods and all that kind of stuff, you're not. You're just not. You're like me. You're like a middle-aged, dude in your garage with a dad bod that just loves guns, loves shooting guns. And that's what I want to create. So he said, what would be great to help new gun owners like myself? Because I hear you say words, and I, was talking about slides and barrels and actions and things when I was talking to him about the guns he was shooting. He says, I don't know everything you're talking about. Why don't you make a video for new gun owners where maybe you start off with a pistol and just go over the parts of the pistol? Say, this is a slide. This is what a slide does. This is a grip or a frame in this case, or in this gun, you have a grip. You have the frame, you have a slide, and then maybe go over the basics of the magazine, like the follower, the base plate, the spring, the body, things that you and I take for granted. A new gun owner doesn't know, and they're scared to ask because they're going to feel like they're stupid, and they're not. We all had to learn. We all had to learn the parts of a gun and what they do. And I could do another video on like different trigger types, single action versus double action. I could do parts of an AR-15, and they would not be videos geared towards people like you. Most likely they would be geared towards people that are just getting into guns, want to know about guns, but are scared to go to the range around other macho gun guys and ask these questions. I thought that was a fantastic idea. So I could do one, as I said, on pistols. I could do one on revolvers. I could do one on rifles like AR-15s. I could do one on AKs. I could do one on trigger types. I could do one on a bunch of different stuff. I thought that was a fantastic idea. So tell me if you think that would be a good idea, and maybe I can make that like a Sunday release on my main channel. So maybe I'll try that out and try to film one of those in the near future. So there you go. Got 3 things. First impressions. Tell me what you think about the rifle suppressors. Frequently asked question, what do you think about my reasoning for always racking the slide on a semi-automatic handgun when it comes to testing the triggers out? And what do you think about what we discovered just here on the workbench? And what do you think about the video ideas? I think they're all great. So I'm really excited to do that. So if you watch to the end of this video and want to participate in the word of the day is idea. Because I got some great video ideas on, I guess, testing triggers and gun videos for new people. So use that word in the comment, and I know that you're a true vault dweller. Welcome back. I'm sorry I've been off the YouTubes for a couple days, but it's just been busy. And thanks for joining me here in the garage. So, as always, thanks for watching.